Today's guest is Sarah Saylor. I love saying that, with the Hive Nanny Agency. She is the co-founder of this beautiful and much needed company. Sarah is no stranger to being a nanny herself. For several years, she was a nanny before she retired from the field and opened up her own agency. She started in Indianapolis. She has moved over to Louisville, if you're from here, and even has presence in Orlando. A nanny is such a needed part of a parent's village. I myself have looked into having a house manager, a nanny. I'm so excited for you to hear her story and how she can help bring your village to life just a little better. This conversation might hit it home a little bit if you feel that little bit of mom guilt. She's here to wash that away. Join me with my conversation with Sarah Saylor.
So, Sarah Saylor,
Yes.
which
That name, the alliteration. It's so good. It's like there's an ear tickle kind of.
Yes.
When I say it, I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, you, from what I could find, very light investigation. You are the CEO, co-founder
Yes.
of the Hive
Yeah.
agency.
The Hive Nanny Agency.
Hive
Yeah.
Nanny agency. Okay, and what is that?
Yeah. So it's a nanny placement agency. So what we do essentially, really the easiest way that I like to explain it is we're matchmakers. We're matchmakers for families that are
Yeah.
seeking a nanny or a household manager.
Wow.
Yeah.
Household manager too.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so what do they do?
So household managers are similar to nannies sometimes. A lot of times a nanny can hold both titles. The primary difference is that household managers will focus mainly on household tasks. So things
Okay.
like organization of the home, laundry, meal prep, things like that.
Okay.
So you'll typically see those in houses maybe with older kids or
Yeah.
kids that are in school half the time,
Yeah.
so that they can fill their hours with other household tasks.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. That's kind of interesting that you said that because in the mutual Facebook group that we
Yes.
are in, I have seen several people asking for a house manager recently.
Really?
Yes. So of course I'm going to go back and tag you.
Yes.
But I think it's because, and correct me if you kind of feel differently, there's been this shift in, women are starting to basically take over the world as they should and becoming business owners of either one or multiple businesses while trying to maintain the I'm here for my kids and
Oh
all
my gosh,
things.
it's hard.
I mean,
Yeah.
how? And so there's this
Yeah.
this need for these people to come in and fill those gaps, like you
Yes.
said.
Yep.
Whether it's I have this box on my counter that needs to be mailed,
Yep.
and how am I gonna?
Oh, yeah.
Gonna do that?
Yeah. Returns, grocery shopping. Like, yeah.
And so that's kind of where they would come in.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
wow, that's so needed. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll reconvene because I was someone that just put a post out looking for a house manager because I'm running a business.
Yeah.
And I've got older kids,
Mhm.
so it feels kind of weird to say it.
Yeah.
A
It feels weird to say
nanny,
nanny. Yeah. Because
you
they're
know?
probably not going to be with the kids very
Right.
often, if at all. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be for
Oh,
them.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, take us back. How did Sarah Saylor, that is going to stick with me. How did Sarah Saylor get this going? How did it come about? Is this a modern day babysitters club? Because I 100% love it. Not.
I mean, yeah. So I started this business in like late 2019. So right
Okay.
before the pandemic hit. And prior to that, I had been a nanny for a long time. Like once I graduated high school, I got on care.com, which is what I feel like everybody does.
Yes.
Right?
Been there.
And you get a job. I got a job as a nanny and I loved it so, so much that I ended up dropping out of college and just pursuing that as a career.
Okay.
So I already had the passion and I had the knowledge. And at that time in 2019, when I started the business, I was still working as a nanny. But I was on the hunt for a new position. I had a position that was just not a fit for me.
Sure.
And I needed something different. And
I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what I know the professional nannies do, the ones that make the most money, the ones that have the most credentials. And I'm going to go and try to get in with an agency.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was living in Indianapolis where I started the business.
Mhm.
And I was Googling agencies in the area. I reached out to a couple, and it just really felt like they didn't care about me, I guess is
Okay.
the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you were a
I
number, not
I
a
was
person at that
definitely a
point.
number and not a person, and it for sure felt like their primary focus was keeping their clients happy and not really the nannies, which truthfully is how your business is thriving.
Right. You're totally
Yes, it's how you're making the clients happy is making sure that you have the nannies and the nannies are happy.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I would get emails back. I would be asking for a certain rate. They would tell me, no, that's too much. Or they would tell me that their clients didn't want to do that. And this wasn't an absurd rate at this time. This was on par for my experience level in the market.
Yeah.
But they would constantly try to pressure me to lower my rate or to accept cash under the table instead of a W-2, which is illegal. And I just got so fed up. I was like, this can't be real the
This isn't
options.
it.
It can't be these agencies or care.com. Like
Right.
I could do this better. And I remember venting to a nanny friend of mine about this, and she was like, well, why can't we? We
Mhm.
should do that.
Yeah.
I had a particularly hard day at work one day. The kids were just wild. I was having like a hard day anyways. And I remember I texted her and I was like, all right, were you serious? Because I'm ready. And I made an LLC that day at nap time.
Oh, I feel that.
Yes.
You were all in. You guys do this thing.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure. So our primary focus at that time was to make sure that we were treating our clients and our nannies with the same respect. And that, I mean, that spread like wildfire. The fact that we were caring about people equally.
And what a shock.
Yes, right. It should be common sense, but for some reason, everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!
What a new idea.
Right? Yeah.
So Indianapolis is where you put your friends down.
Yep.
Okay.
That is where I started. Yeah.
And then you started moving towards Louisville.
We started moving towards Louisville when my wife and I decided to move to Louisville a little over a year ago.
Okay.
So still kind of new to this market, still trying to figure things out here because it's very different from Indy.
Is it?
But yes,
Okay.
it is. But I'm noticing Louisville. This is something that I feel like they need here. Truthfully.
110%.
So I wanna persevere. It's been hard, you know. For some reason, breaking into a new market, it's never easy.
Interesting.
Um,
So finding the right people to talk to get the
yes,
word out. Okay.
yeah.
But your office is in Indy, or do you have an office here?
I have an office here now too.
Okay.
Yep. I have both.
And you live here.
Yes, and I live here.
Okay.
Yes.
So I also saw that you're in Orlando.
Yes. Yes.
What's going on?
Yes.
then?
We're quietly in Orlando.
Okay. So
And I say that because I can't get over there as often as I would like to.
okay.
But I do have a staff member in Orlando. She lives there. She's getting the word out there.
Yeah.
It's still somewhat new.
Yeah.
I would like to, in a perfect world, go down there and stay there for like a month or two and
Like,
just like
really
really
get in there.
get in there. But yeah, I mean, I am open to all expansions. Any market that I'm like, you guys
Like,
could
to
use
be
this. You need help. Like
Okay.
whether it's just advocating for the nannies or helping the families or ideally both.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. So
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're open to it, but breaking into the new market is the challenge.
Yeah, that is always the challenge.
Okay.
Getting people to trust you, I think. And here in Louisville, I respect it, but it's been hard for me. People want to shake your hand. They want to know who you are. There, and they want to say,
They want to.
I heard about you
Person.
from so-and-so.
Okay.
And they don't really want to go on Google and be like, nanny agency, Louisville, Kentucky.
I wonder why that
I
is.
don't know why that is. I respect
Okay.
it. Like I said.
Right. I get
But
it.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little older, traditional.
Yeah.
They
They want
you're
referrals.
watching. Yeah.
From-
You're
from
watching my
friends.
kids.
Yeah.
You're coming into my house.
Yep.
I want to know where you've been.
Yeah.
Okay. That's tricky.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're breaking into new markets, open to
Yes.
wherever the vibes take
Yeah.
us and there's a need. I love what you said. I want to go back to the team aspect.
Mhm.
I feel that this is lost on a lot of business owners. When it comes to the priority list, usually sales, bringing the money in,
Mhm.
right? That's always at the top of the list. And
Right.
I say this from experience from a financial side of
Yeah.
talking to business owners, um, because this isn't my full time job, even though I wish it was, that bringing the money in, number one,
Mhm.
um, some kind of marketing, number two.
Yep.
Then number three is usually how can I have that work life balance?
Yeah.
And when I see those top three priorities, what I say is you're not going to be successful.
Mhm.
I can see it when they list those things out.
Yep.
When I ask them, what are your goals? When we have our money therapy session,
Yep.
and I don't see anything about team in there, I already know it's not going to
Mhm.
be successful. So I think it is so special that you are taking a different approach,
Mhm.
looking at your team like you are just as important
Yeah.
as the way we bring money in.
Yeah.
And if you don't treat it that way, then everything's going to crumble from
Yeah.
within.
Hey there, my little biz besties. It's Ashley Chamberlain, host of In Good Company and CEO of Chamberlain and Good Company, the virtual accounting firm that actually speaks human. If you're a business owner and you've ever found yourself staring at QuickBooks like it's a literal foreign language, wondering if your miscellaneous category is secretly plotting against you, this is for you. We just launched something new, a private Facebook group called Mind Your Business and Your Books. It's for business owners who want real answers, real support, maybe a little less panic when it comes to your books. We're talking QuickBooks help, tax tips, mindset shifts, because yes, money is mental, and a community that actually gets it. How rare, right? It's $30 for your first month because we believe in starting strong without breaking the bank. That's not what we're trying to do here. After that, the price goes up. We'll go live twice a month. We'll answer your questions that are submitted by you ahead of time. Search Mind Your Business and Your Books on Facebook, or just check the link in the show notes. Join us. Your spreadsheets and your sanity will thank you.
Talk to me about what you feel like, especially because you have experience from the other side.
Mhm.
What do you feel like the Hive does differently as far as team treatment than where you've been or what you've
Yeah.
seen?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so one of the things that we get the most compliments on is our advocacy. So if a nanny is going to come to me and they're going to say they were making, I don't know, we'll say like $12 an hour, which is so sad. $12 an hour at their last position, and they're like, I only need to make it, or they feel I'll get a lot of nannies that come to they're saying they're making a low rate, but they're scared to ask for higher, even though their credentials would support it. Like, they're college educated women and they have, 6, 7, 8 years of experience in the field, and they're feeling bashful about asking for $15 an hour.
Right. Because doesn't everybody hate having that conversation
Yes.
with an employer?
Yeah, I can tell that they don't like it, and I can tell that they've been shut down before in the past for asking for it.
Right.
And one of the things that I really like to do is be honest with them about where I think they should be. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, my clients are gonna love that she only wants $15 an hour. I'm gonna be like, girl,
Where do you want? What do you want?
yes, let's be so honest in this market. In this world, who can survive on $15 an hour if it's your full-time gig? Nobody.
Not one person.
Nobody. So yeah, just kind of being honest and making sure that my nannies feel supported. Like, we have so many phone calls and Zooms and meetings where we really get to know each other. And I think a big part of that is getting to know personalities. I think that gets lost a lot, because when you match personalities in this field,
Ah.
I mean, yeah,
It's everything.
it's everything,
Yeah.
because you got to think this person is in your house. They're helping you shape your child.
Personal.
It's so personal.
Yeah.
And I think people will sometimes focus on just like the paper of it all.
Right.
And it's like, no, it's so much more than that.
Right.
So making sure that we're thinking about personalities too, I think has been a big way that we're supporting our nannies, but yeah, also our
Yeah.
clients.
I love that. So are you the go-between?
Primarily, yeah, there's
Okay.
me, and then I have a staff member, Amanda. She's my placement specialist.
Okay.
So she will help make those placements too. She'll do a lot of the interviews and
Oh.
share some notes with me of the nannies.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of work together and be like, oh, so and so would love her, and maybe they send her over here. So yeah, it can be fun, It really is like matchmaking.
I was going to say, it is a matchmaking
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Finding who you think would work well together.
Mhm.
And that can be really hard because if you go to care.com, which I have, I've been to care.com. As a mom looking for babysitters,
Well, yeah.
especially if you're in a new area, you don't know everyone.
Well, it's the most prominent site, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're thinking about, oh, I need a babysitter, you're probably going to think about getting on care.com.
I'll go here. They have background checks.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere in care.com that I found that I can put, would like someone that does this.
Yeah.
Or would like someone that's okay
Yeah.
with this.
You got to read through it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're spending hours.
Oh, yes.
It felt like, this is so dramatic. And I realize that this is me as a person. It felt like a part-time job.
No, I say that all the time.
Okay.
I literally
Not
say that all the
super
time.
hot.
No, because that's what you hear from so many parents too. They're like, I am weeding through application after application after application.
Yeah.
Half of them are garbage. The
Yeah.
other half, are trying to tell me that they need a different schedule than what I have put up there. Like, it's
why
just
do you apply to this
exactly.
if we're
Exactly.
clearly
Yeah.
it's kind of like when I want to sell something on Facebook Marketplace, my stomach hurts because it felt the same way. Like, here's what I have, this is what I need, and people are like, okay, so it's $100. Will you take 10?
Yeah. Exactly.
Same energy.
Yes.
As
Same energy.
trying to find a person. So spending those hours weeding through all those applications, trying to figure out how to even put a post together.
Yeah.
That was hard too. I need a babysitter.
Yeah.
And then what else? And
Right.
like, what's your budget? What do they want?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that something that goes into the process?
Oh,
or
yeah.
what does that look like?
Yeah. So the ways that we help the clients, the things that we kind of handle on your behalf are the weeding through like that.
Okay.
Like we are either searching within our system or we're outsourcing. And when we outsource, we're doing all the weeding. The candidates. And sometimes it's like hundreds of applications that we're looking through. We're doing background checks on your behalf.
Okay.
We're doing reference checks on your behalf. If somebody has something on their resume, like a degree or a CPR certification, we're double checking that that's true. So we're doing all of the hard stuff for you. So all you have to do is meet with that applicant and decide, do I want to move forward with this person or do I not?
Is this it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually sounds amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it takes so much stress off and you get your life back. Like, who wants to, like you said, have a full other part-time job?
Right.
Just
Trying
trying
to
to find somebody to help you. Yeah.
It felt like hiring a team member for myself. And I thought it shouldn't be this hard, but it is.
It is.
So families not necessarily needing a full-time nanny because there is a need for that.
Yep.
But the people that might need those, we want to go on a date night.
Yeah.
Is that something I saw when I was investigating?
Yes.
That a lot of people have been asking you that.
Yes.
So where are we landing?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. We are like weeks away from unveiling that. So I'm very excited because I think that that's something that Louisville is going to like potentially more than part or full-time nannies.
Right.
Is the babysitting aspect.
Get out of the house.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the last year, I've been working with a team to get something together.
Yeah.
Because for me, the reason why I waited so long to even do it is because I'm like, this is a whole other job, like doing that. And last minute help can be a lot more difficult than somebody who reaches out ahead of time and is like, I need a nanny for August. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I've been delaying it, but we're finally like right on the precipice of unveiling that. And yeah, I'm excited because it's going to be a system where you can just go online, you can search through who's available, what their budget is, and book them without even talking to me.
Okay. That's easy.
So yes, that's much easier. It's a little less customizable, like from our end, but those candidates will also be background check, reference check, and everything ahead of time.
Okay. They're going through the process in a
Yes.
different way and it'll be
Yes.
available.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I love that. That gives babysitter fun.
Yes.
That absolutely does. That's more of a babysitter. The nanny is someone that has a routine.
Yeah.
They're consistently
Yep. Regular
in your
schedule,
life.
typically. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say is your most, now I know this is a hard question, ideal family?
Oh my God.
I know it's hard because everyone's different, but
Cool.
just someone comes to you and you're like, ah, this is perfect.
Oh, okay. I love my ideal family.
Yeah.
Is probably somebody who has some knowledge of industry standards and
Okay.
the laws surrounding hiring a nanny. I love it when I don't have to do a ton of the work on like educating and things like that. Somebody who comes to me with like a healthy budget. Now, like we understand that, you're probably not going to send me my perfect match tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
It's like we have a healthy understanding.
Realistic.
Yeah. Realistic expectations.
Yeah.
I love people like that. But I also really do like first time parents, first time people
Yeah.
hiring a nanny. And they're like, I want to know all of the information. I want
everything.
yes, I want to do things right. Give me all the information that you have.
Yeah.
I think those are my two favorites.
Okay. So
Yeah.
very different sides of the
Yes.
spectrum there.
Yeah.
So for most people, obviously I'm speaking for myself because I think I'm most people for some reason that know absolutely nothing about it, that come to you and say, I don't know what the standards are,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to pay what it takes because I need this. Let's work together to get there. That could be someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's a normal schedule? Does it have to be every day?
It doesn't have to be. No, I mean, when I was a nanny, I worked 4 10s for like 4 or 5 years and I loved it.
Okay.
It varies. It really, and that's kind of the nice part about going through an agency too, is like if you are a family that has a kind of a weird schedule, that's probably where you're going to find a nanny that can do that. If you're somebody who's like, I need Monday through Thursday and every other Saturday, that might be something that you want to come to an agency for. If you're somebody who's like, I need a 6 a.m. start and, like a 2 p.m. end, or maybe you have 14-hour days or whatever it is, you need overtime, like
Everywhere in between.
everywhere in between.
Okay.
Yes, yes. My last family that I nannied for before I retired from the field, they were both doctors. And so I would get my schedule a month in advance.
Okay.
And I always knew I would never be there earlier than 7 a.m. and I would never leave later than 6 p.m. But like the day to day would change.
Okay.
So
you're open to that.
Yeah.
She knew
Yeah.
what to expect going
Yeah,
forward.
exactly. So situations like that, they happen all the time. And truthfully, that is a lot of the clients that we get is they're like, we can't put anybody on care that is like
Willing to
willing
this.
to or understands this sketch.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you feel like you have this we'll say database, or you have the team not only understands the legal legality stuff around being a nanny, but they're also looking forward to the weird schedules. They're signing up for what you got. I'm here for it because you see what I need for compensation. I see what you need for care.
Yeah, there's
And we're brought
flexibility
together.
there. That's
Okay.
what's really nice is if you're able to be, somewhat flexible with your nanny, they're going to do the same for you. So if you like in my instance with my schedule, I was still working only 4 days a week, but I ended up 40 hours at the end of the week every week.
Yeah.
So my day to day was kind of different, but there were definitely times where I was like, hey, I'm originally from Michigan. So I'd be like, I need to go back to Michigan. I want to see my family for the weekend.
Yeah.
Can I have my day off on Friday instead of Wednesday? And they would be able to accommodate things like that for me because there were so many times that I also was beyond flexible for them.
Yeah.
So there's always that mutual understanding, I think. And I think maybe way back when people would think of nannies, they would think of a very like employer-employee relationship, but that's kind of changing throughout the years.
Yeah.
People are more like, this is a part of my family. Like I want to help them and they want to help me. This is more like a mutual.
I want to know about your life.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is what it's becoming.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Oh,
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. People are wanting to become a little more personable.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I'm not your employer.
Yeah.
I'm a cool brand. Yeah, okay. I can see that because as technology and just the economy has
Mhm.
been evolving, do you find that people have this, I don't know, this need that's growing for that genuine personable
Yeah.
relationship? They
Yeah.
want to know people. They want to know their lives outside of work,
Yes.
what
Yeah.
makes them tick more now,
Oh,
I think, than 10
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. 100%. And I think it's almost I honestly don't know how people didn't do this in the field
Yeah.
before because it is such a personal job.
Yeah.
Like, how are you not? You
Oh,
see it
there's-
day to day. How are you not
Yeah.
communicating about your personal life?
Right.
It is a little crazy to me. Obviously, there should be some sort of boundary there. But,
Yeah.
for the most part, it does. It feels like an extension of the family. And we get a lot of clients come in and saying that they specifically want that kind of feel, not only because it's easier for them, but also because I think that the kids really benefit from that.
Yes. Yes.
So,
The parents feel anxious.
Yeah.
And I feel this wall put up.
yeah,
The kids have got to feel it too.
yeah, they've got to feel that.
So
Yeah. And when you're all working almost as equals, like a team in one household, the kids notice that too. So,
you need to have that synchronicity
Yes.
together.
yeah,
I love that. That's so interesting in this field and even in, my other life of non-podcasting, being an accountant, people feel the
Yeah.
same way.
yeah,
They want to meet for coffee
Mhm.
with their accountant.
yeah. And that's so fun.
Yeah. And it's like, really? Okay. I don't get on that. I'm here for it. It seems okay, but they're like, but can we
Yeah.
meet up and
Yeah.
what do you have going on for the rest of your day? And I'm like, taxes, what? They want to know. So it's so interesting to see how it's kind of
Mhm.
bleeding into other industries.
Oh, yeah.
I want to touch on kind of shifting gears.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the house manager, kind of.
Yes.
We've talked about babysitting coming up,
Yes.
nannying, what that means.
Yes.
So events,
Yeah.
trips.
Yeah.
How do you come in? How does that even work? To me, it feels so untouchable. Like you're going on a trip. We're going to the Grand Canyon this year. We're going to the Grand Canyon, and I'm thinking, if we bring someone, how does that even work?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this question. Um, yeah. So if you're doing something like that, like a vacation, you want a travel nanny. I did that back in the day too.
Okay,
So much fun.
travel day.
Yes. That's typically what they're called.
Okay.
So you would hire them out for however much time you were going on vacation for. The standards there would be that you would pay them their hourly rate if they're in charge of keeping an eye out for the kids, like through the evening, like if they were to wake up or something, and you're like, okay, if
Right.
little Johnny wakes up, then you're in charge of him,
Okay.
getting him back to sleep or whatever. You would have to pay them a fee for that. Typically, it's overtime if they wake up. You also would typically pay them some sort of general overnight fee, just like a convenience fee for being away from their family or pets or whatever. And that is anywhere between like 50 to $100 a night or something. It's dependent upon whatever the nanny wants. really.
Yeah.
And then you would pay for their accommodations. Some families like to have their nanny like in a suite with them. Others will give them a separate room. Again, typically nanny's preference or family's preference.
Let's not
And
talk about it.
yeah. I mean, really, it's nanny by nanny, but the standard is definitely hourly rates, overnight rate, and you're paying for their accommodations, like how they get there, where they're staying.
Sure.
Yeah, and a lot of families will have the nanny have personal time throughout the day, obviously, and then they can explore. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it's fun when you get to do that for sure. And this kind of goes back into personality matches. Like, I mean, imagine having a nanny on a vacation where you like didn't jive with.
Yeah. That'd be so awesome.
So awkward,
Wouldn't
right?
your vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So nanny by nanny basis.
Yep.
And it's perfectly okay to say, and maybe this is me being rude. So you tell me. We're going to the Grand Canyon.
Yep.
We're going to be gone for 8 days.
Yes.
While I think you're a great person, I would probably say that because I always feel like I need to be a cheerleader. You're a great person, but I need you to go do your own thing during the day. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's family time.
Yeah.
But then at night, husband and I want to go on date night.
Oh my God, perfect.
Is that normal?
Yes, that's totally
That's
normal.
not rude.
No, not rude at all. They're
Okay.
really big. Thank you. You paid
Really?
for my way
Okay.
here. I
Yeah.
feel like you paid for my
Okay.
accommodations. I would love to
Okay.
go out on my own for
No,
sure.
not crazy.
Not crazy at all.
If you're going on a cruise.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
here's your room?
Yep.
Obviously you can't go far, but
Right.
go as far as you can
Yep.
to have fun. Okay. That's good to know too, because that's always, I think that keeps people from going on vacations because they're like,
Yeah.
how are we gonna,
Go
we can
out.
go on
Yeah.
these family vacations, but how are we gonna really enjoy time together
Yeah.
as a couple?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyone that wants to go on vacation, it is possible to bring someone with you and still have a good time.
Yeah.
Would you just have them meet before to really
Yeah.
get to know each other? How does
Typically,
that work?
you'll meet before. The way interviews go for essentially all of our processes, aside from babysitting, is that you'll do a Zoom interview first
Yeah.
so that you can kind of decide if you do want to meet this person or if you
Right.
want to introduce them to your child, if it's worth your time, basically. And if that goes well, then people will typically schedule an in-person. Most of the time that's at their house. They can get a lay of the land and meet their child, but sometimes people choose to meet for coffee or something like
Right.
that. So that's something that happens with travel nannies too.
Okay. Because you would want to get to
You
know
would want to, yeah, for sure.
and they would too. They're
For
from
sure.
somewhere outside of their comfort
Yes.
zone.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
So you help facilitate those meetings.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So someone that maybe has a lot of stuff going on
Mhm.
doesn't have to take on a part-time job. So it really does feel like it.
Yes, I know. I know. I do totally know. I don't understand.
And I always feel dramatic when I say it, but
No.
it keeps me from wanting to find babysitters
Well,
again.
yeah, it's
nannies
feedback I
again.
get all of the time.
Yeah.
All of the time. And even in the nanny positions that I've gotten, because I've had one or two through care.com, the families that hired me were like, oh my God, you're like a diamond in the rough. Like we
Yes.
felt like we were in the trenches.
Like it was
taking
never
us
going to
forever.
happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you understand from both sides
Oh,
what
yeah.
that feels like. And you mentioned you were retired from the field, which is such,
Oh my God.
like, that's such a sexy
I know.
way to say, I'm not a nanny, I'm a business owner. I love that. So you are no longer nannying for people personally because you're running
Right.
the show.
And it took me a long time to get there. This is when
Yeah.
I moved to Louisville is when I started doing this.
Okay.
Time.
You
So
clean
yeah,
let's be
yeah, but holy moly, yeah, I spent 11 and a half years in the nanny field and it was wonderful and it was absolutely heartbreaking.
yeah, that's
To kind of
hard.
just put a bow on that. And especially because my wife is still a nanny right now. So I'm like,
How was it?
I know. I'm like,
Every
oh my
single
God, you get to see
day.
a baby every day. Like, I miss all of my kids. Every child that I've ever had in my care, it's so tough. And the last family I had, I was with them for 4.5 of those years. Their youngest was born into my care. And so
Those were your
it's like,
babies.
yes, it really feels like that. It really feels like that. So
And she's still doing the thing.
yeah, and she's still out
So
there
you're a
doing
little
it.
jealous.
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Other times I'm like, okay, have fun getting up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm retired from the field.
it's day by day basis.
Okay. Well, I definitely get that. Getting out of the everyday situation feels so hard. I remember thinking about getting out of we'll call it client fulfillment because being the nanny, doing the taxes, the client fulfillment part, while you feel like that's everything you're working towards,
Yeah.
like I want to be the owner and I want to do the other things. When you're actually out of it, sometimes you're like, well, what am I going to do all day? What am I supposed to do with all my time? How are the clients going to know me?
Yeah. Well, I struggled with that so hard too, because obviously I not only was running my business and it was very successful too. So I was busy. I also was working 40 hours a week.
Of course you are.
Because sometimes more. So
The faith is hard.
I mean, yeah, it's really hard. So then when we moved here, I was like, this is going to be like my slowdown era. I'm going to really like focus on the building of my business, continuing to see that thrive. I'm going to no longer feel like I'm constantly scrambling and have a packed schedule. But I realized like I've kind of been thriving in that situation for so long that now I'm like, oh
What do I
my
do?
God.
Yeah.
I'm kind of reframing what productivity looks like. And that's been really difficult.
Yeah. So today, what does a productive day look like for you
Oh my God.
in your slow down girl era?
God, I'm like still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I mean, it's so hard. I think that if I get up at a decent time
Yeah.
and I
So
make
cool.
like I want to be able to always have a good breakfast, so that's been something that's on my plate.
Breakfast.
Yes, I always have to get up at a decent time. I have to eat breakfast, and as long as I'm like accomplishing something off of my to-do list, I feel good about it.
Okay.
But
Having
yeah,
a to-do list. That's productive in itself.
yes, exactly. I'm
Writing
a
it
list
down.
girl, so I love a list. Lists have been very helpful through this period. For sure.
Stay on track.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a paperless person or
Yeah.
do you like a digital list?
Gosh, I go back and forth. I have an iPad that I got a pen with, so it's like kind of the best of both worlds. Like, get the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I could like email that to myself if I needed to. So that's been what I've been doing lately.
Okay. I go back and forth too.
Yeah.
Because I do love like a paper and pen.
Me too.
I have a paper planner.
Yeah.
But then I list online.
Yeah.
And honestly, are we creating more work
I don't know.
for ourselves?
It is crazy, but like I was an English major in college, so I'm like I love pen and paper.
Yes.
but
That's hard to get.
yes, but the convenience of having something like with you all the time on your phone or
It's just
you know,
right
like that,
there.
yeah.
It really is hard to
It is.
stop doing that. So your day to day is the operations.
Yes.
You have a placement specialist.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to? What's next? Getting into this market
Yeah.
of Louisville, people are wild. They have different expectations. Orlando, that girl's live her best life in Orlando.
I know.
We're looking forward to the babysitter
Yes.
stuff. What's kind of on the horizon for you? Maybe it's personal, maybe it's growth wise. What's next?
I have a couple things that I've been dying to do.
Yeah.
One of them is I really want to be able to kind of show up and show out for the nannies here. I would love to be able to do like some events or some trainings or something of that nature to where I can get them communicating, because one of the biggest difference I noticed about Louisville compared to Indy is that the nannies here are not hanging out. They're not talking. They're not doing dates. They're not like socializing in the way that they were in Indy. And I think it's so special when you get to have community in a field that maybe isn't so large or in a field that can definitely be isolating.
Right.
So yeah, to be able to have that interaction, I want to be able to help facilitate that and make that happen, because I just think it's so important for so many reasons. So many reasons.
That's beautiful.
Personally, my wife and I are trying to have a baby. So we are excited for that. Hopefully this year we have an embryo that we are hoping to transfer eventually.
Yeah. Okay. It's in the works.
Yes.
Doing its
And,
embryo thing.
you know, as weird as it sounds, I'm also like, God, it's going to be kind of nice to be able to be a parent and also maybe understand my clients more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Different perspective.
Yes,
Yeah.
a different perspective
Yeah.
that I've kind of always been like, I don't really have that. And the employee that I have doesn't have a child either. So it's like, we get the nanny side, we get that, and obviously the business side, but the parent side, like there's only so much that I can, you know, fully
The
get.
dynamic changes. Your mind changes too. You have different needs and wants, and
Right.
getting the inside scoop will be so
Yes. And as much as I think that I understand, like I'm sure I don't.
things are like, but just do it. That parents are like, you don't understand, so you're gonna get that. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And you will not be prepared for it in the slightest.
100%.
It does not matter how prepared you think you are.
Yes, for sure.
Speak from obvious experience. My kids are 6 years apart. So I was like, let's wait.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, if we wait any longer, I'm going to be considered like, what is
Geriatric at 35 years old.
Exactly. Is that? So, okay. So we're hoping to get the embryo, do the embryo thing. Yeah. Which is awesome. All the good luck with that. I got my stressful. I can feel it. And bringing community. Love that. Yeah. Need more of that, obviously. And the babysitting.
Yes.
I think it's gonna really take off. I
Me
feel
too.
really good
I
about
feel
it.
good about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be as long as the systems are set up so you don't feel crazy.
Yes,
'Cause it can get
exactly.
wild.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't, there's no way I can do this if it's a whole other full-time job. But
Right.
I think the babysitting is something that Louisville needs. I don't know if you're on any of those babysitting groups around here on Facebook, but every single, like, I feel like every post is a scam or every post is like
Why are you asking my
ridiculous.
cash app?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, where are people finding babysitters here? Like genuinely,
We're
because
not.
I don't know.
We're just being miserable at home. Yes. I will tell you, care.com wasn't one, but it is hard. It's
Mhm.
going into these Facebook groups and who knows someone and just
Yeah.
hoping that,
Get a referral and it's something
it
good.
works out. And it takes so long that normally I'm like, forget it.
Yeah.
He can just come with me.
Yeah.
And that's why he's out there. And because I don't have a person. But then I think a lot of women, parents too. I mean, I don't know if my husband would know what to do to get a babysitter.
Yeah.
But he would struggle in the same kinds
Yeah.
of ways.
Yeah.
So that's really gonna take off.
Yeah.
And how can people find you? What does working with you look like?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can find us information about us on our website, www.hivenannyagency.com. I'm also on Instagram at the Hive Nanny Agency, and you can find us on Facebook too. Yeah,
Those are the places.
those are the primary places. If
Okay.
you want to give us a call, we have a phone number. It's 317-207-6122.
Okay.
But
If you have millennials, we're on it.
I know, no,
I'm
this
not
is
gonna
so close.
It sounds a little intense. But they can just reach out. They
Yeah.
can start in the process.
Yes.
It is a process.
Yeah,
As
there
it
is a
should be.
process for
Okay.
sure. But yeah, if you go onto our website or social media, it'll direct you to an email and you can shoot me an email. I have this big old information packet that I can send you. It tells you the average nanny rates in the area. It tells you our process. It gives you our packages. It's everything you could possibly need. FAQs, how this all started.
Cool.
All of
Okay.
it.
So they can get all
Yeah.
educated up.
Yep.
And start the process.
Exactly.
Okay. And then I have seen your post because we're friends on Facebook where you will say things like, looking for family looking for a nanny or nanny looking for something.
Yeah.
So connecting with you on social media will greatly start putting this in their algorithm. Help if this pops up, you can see, oh,
Yes.
okay, let's get this started because I
Yes.
could be that person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And nannies looking for work. How do they get in contact you the same way?
Yes, typically the same way. A lot of times, if it's a nanny that's not already in our system, they'll see us post a job post and they'll be like, oh, that's interesting to me.
Love that.
And they'll
Try
reach
that.
out and we let our nannies apply to up to 2 positions at a time so they can
Cool.
apply to multiple.
Yeah.
But yeah, they usually find us through social media or referral. Word of mouth is big, especially in Indianapolis. So I'm hoping for the same here.
If I could do it all over again, there'd be no wish I would, should have been. Spend more time with my family and friends. If I could do it all